Ahead on American Sunrise, let's make a deal. President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping hold their high-stakes meeting in South Korea. And folks, they've struck a new trade deal. Details of that deal straight ahead. Plus, Biden and the auto pen. The Attorney General, Pam Bondi, vows accountability for the deepening scandal. When can we expect results? We're going to take a look at that. And later, passing the torch. Vice President J.D. Vance and Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, both continue carrying on Charlie's legacy with a huge event at Ole Miss last night. Their message coming up, and it's all part of Hour 1 on American Sunrise. And everybody, we're starting right now. Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina. Good morning, everybody. I am Dr. G. We are live with you from the Palm Beaches. Let's bring in David Brody. He's in Washington, D.C. Terrence Bates, he's in our Denver newsroom. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Hello, T.
Hi,
You're waving
Dr.
to us.
Gina.
Hello.
Hi, David. I'm waving to you guys. Yes, it is a good Thursday morning. Hey, guys, good morning to both of you. Sorry to be so silly, but it's one of those nights. Dr. Gina, you had a restful night, I hear. I won't go into the details. I tossed and turned all night.
Wait,
yeah,
what?
If you choose to share, I'll allow you, but I won't go into the details. It's one of those things when you have private conversations on television. But look, President Trump, my bad, Dr. G. President Trump is headed back home from South Korea right now. He's aboard Air Force One. Typically, we talk about the trip, and I'd like to get each of your takeaways really quickly about that meeting. For me, the big takeaway was, and this is what I found interesting, is that President Xi really talked a lot about ending wars and being kind of a peacekeeper and peacemaker. He also said that he wanted to be engaged in peace with the United States, and I found that curious given that China is the biggest threat in the Indo-Pacific region, but rhetorically, he's talking about keeping peace. That was my big takeaway. It had me scratching my head, and I may end up growing some more hair. David, your takeaway?
Not surprising. He's playing the diplomatic card. I mean, that's what he's going to do. It's one thing to say something to the cameras. It's another thing to say something behind closed doors. The president just releasing a Truth Social post just a couple hours ago talking about this trade deal. To me, that's the big news coming out of all of this, that he comes home with the goods, with the deal in hand, talking about that China's going to resume soybean purchases. He's talking about specifically that this is great news for farmers and other purchases that China is going to make that are going to help our farmers. He talks about the rare mineral deals that China's going to pause exports, curb exports, if you will, for a year on those rare earth minerals, and of course help with the illegal fentanyl trafficking. We'll get more details on that, but apparently there's been some commitment there. So look, I mean, once again, the art of the deal yet again on display. We'll see how much it holds, but it doesn't surprise me at all, Gina, that President Trump is indeed doing what he does best.
So are all of the media out there who said we'd be in war now with all of our foreign adversaries because of Trump's tariffs going to apologize today? Will either of you be holding your breath for that outcome? Because
I'd be dead.
I was going to say, then you'll be sleeping like I did last night. Terrence is not telling the backstory there, but for a long time, right?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I won't be holding my breath. You won't see Terrence black and blue. Well, you might see black, but not the blue part. For me holding my breath, not going to happen. By the way, coming up here in just a little bit, folks, you'll hear some of the sound that came out of this meeting between President Trump and President Xi. We'll have some of the sound bites from that that we're still working to get on the air. Yes, sir.
Also, you mentioned, Terrence, that he's on his way back. The president's on his way back. Just found out that he's in Anchorage right now, Anchorage, Alaska. So he should be arriving into D.C. early afternoon at this point. And that meeting with Xi, Gina, was 2 hours. I mean, it was a substantial meeting. Why am I saying a substantial meeting? Why am I talking like that? All right, Gina, it's time for the Bible verse, I guess. I've run out of information. I'm done.
All right, let's get to it. It's John 10, verses 27 and 28. Oh, love this today. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give them eternal life, and they shall never perish. Neither shall anyone snatch them out of my hand. I'll tell you what, guys, having literally 3 days ago been standing in the very place where the shepherds raised the sheep for the temple in Israel. I'm telling you, you go to Israel, the Bible is it's so alive to you in ways that it never was before. I just hear the words shepherd or sheep, and now I'm like, you see it now. You know, it's amazing. Anyway, for more on everything we're talking about this morning, let's bring in GOP strategist and host of the 13-Minute News Hour, Bobby Eberle. Bobby, this meeting with Xi and Trump, 2 hours, and without a doubt, these were substantive hours that changed perhaps the very ethos of our foreign trade and relations. What do you make of it?
Well, I love everyone's, comparison and the thoughts leading out, from this meeting. And what I take away is the contrast between anything that Joe Biden did during his 4 years, especially regarding China. I mean, remember when he sent Blinken and others to negotiate in China, basically just stiff-arm them and had their way with them. And it looked like China was in control. Every one of those meetings, whether with Biden or his top guys, was a win for China. And now we have Trump on the world stage, and you see in meeting after meeting, whether it's the Middle East, whether it's sitting down with talking about Putin and Ukraine, or this with China, it shows American strength, American leadership, and Trump's ability to get the deal done. I mean, this was significant, whether it's the fentanyl, whether it's the soybeans for farmers, or whether it's getting China to pull back on those export controls of rare earth minerals, critical minerals. This was all major, major concessions by China. Sure, we dropped our tariffs down by 10 percentage points, but the United States, as a country, went in there with a list of demands and came out with the win. And I think that's significant, and it's significant for President Trump and his leadership on the world stage.
No doubt about it, Bobby. Hey, let's move on to some other news. So we had Vice President J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk as well speaking at this Turning Point USA event at Ole Miss last night. J.D. Vance actually addressed a student in the crowd regarding Israel, because this comes up all the time with these, especially young males. They want to talk about how Israel is basically the devil. And sometimes I'm not even paraphrasing. They literally will say that. And that the Israel lobby controls President Trump, which is so farcical on its face. But here's how he responded. Take a look at this.
I'm a Christian man, and I'm just confused why that there's this notion that we might have owe Israel something, or that they're our greatest ally, or that we have to support this multi-hundred-billion-dollar foreign aid package to Israel to cover this, to quote Charlie Kirk, ethnic cleansing in Gaza. I'm just confused why this idea has come around, considering the fact that not only does their religion not agree with ours, but also openly supports the prosecution of ours.
Yeah, so let's say a few things about this. First of all, when the President of the United States says America first, that means that he pursues the interests of Americans first. That is our entire foreign policy. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have alliances, that you're not going to work with other countries from time to time. And that is what the president believes, is that Israel, sometimes they have similar interests to the United States, and we're going to work with them in that case. Sometimes they don't have similar interests to the United States. In this example, the most recent Gaza peace plan that all of us have been working on very hard for the past few weeks, the president of the United States could only get get that peace deal done by actually being willing to apply leverage to the state of Israel. So when people say that Israel is somehow manipulating or controlling the president of the United States, they're not controlling this president of the United States.
Bobby, your reaction, I think, is a pretty good answer. I was very concerned about all of the applause.
I was going to say,
FYI.
yeah, that was a lot of applause.
That is disconcerting.
Yeah, I thought Vice President Vance did an excellent job there in addressing the student and addressing what America First actually means. I mean, we have great allies around the world, you know, Britain, France, Germany, all of the NATO nations. When we go to the Middle East, our strongest ally there is Israel. And so we need to negotiate. We need to work out alliances, and sometimes they don't always agree. And President Trump is one of the ones to say that. I mean, he's had tough statements in just the last few months regarding Netanyahu and what the president thinks should be done in that region, considering that the U.S. gives so much aid and so much help. So I think he has forged a good alliance, and one that is certainly, to address that student's question, not one where Israel is pulling the strings, but America is leading, and leading for its interests and what is best for America in the Middle East. And when that comes to working with Israel, guess what? We work with Israel.
All right, Bobby, I'm going to follow up with the America First policies and doing what's in the best interest of the United States. President Trump just announcing that he is authorized, or really is pushing for the resumption of testing of nuclear weapons. That, of course, is huge, but that's America First. It is a peace through strength move, it seems like, from the outside looking in.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And it's also, hey, is our technology really as good as we need it to be, considering Russia's always testing, always advancing. China is advancing with their technology. I believe our last nuclear weapons test was 1992, so some 33 years ago. And so we need to keep up with the times. And it also shows that we're willing to flex our muscle. You know, you've got tanks on parade. Well, guess what? We're going to do some nuclear weapons testing as well. But again, it keeps us up with the latest technology, make sure everything is as sharp as it could be, as ready as it can be. And it's certainly a sign to world leaders everywhere that America is serious about leading and defending itself and our allies and our interests.
Bobby
FAFO.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks a lot.
Bobby.
Coming up,
Thanks,
we'll
Bobby.
check out the hottest headlines from the RAV newsroom with Terrence Bates. And later, the Trump administration has been conducting several strikes on suspected drug boats in the Caribbean, even approved the CIA operations in Venezuela. What is the end game? We're going to assess that next on American Sunrise.